And Mr. Kimbrough, before we get started, I just want to say to you that we respect what you and your organization do, and that there's nothing personal about this deposition against you or VEO. My client, as you know, was involved in a serious car accident and was hurt pretty badly. And this is all about just trying to make her whole again, which is why VEO has insurance. And I just wanted to say that to you before we get started. Madam Court Reporter, if you wouldn't mind swearing in the witness.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Kimbrough. My name is Matt Kahn. I represent the plaintiff. Will you please state your full name for the record?
Yes. Anthony Reed Kimbrough.
All right, Mr. Kimbrough. And what's your educational background?
I'm a college graduate from the Citadel.
Did you serve in the military after graduating?
Yes.
And what branch did you serve?
Army.
Army. Well, thank you for your service.
No problem.
Can you walk me through your career path after graduating and then after serving in the military?
Yes. So I took a reserve commission out of the Citadel, went to officer OBC school, military intelligence. After graduating, worked for Cox Enterprises, a subsidiary called Mannheim Auto Auctions. Traveled around with them, lived in Kansas City to Baltimore to Charlotte. During that time, I was deployed to Afghanistan, came back from Afghanistan and went back to work with Mannheim in Phoenix. From that time, went to work for UPMC, University of Pittsburgh Medical Center in Pittsburgh. Did a stint with the hospitals there, and then worked for the YMCA Pittsburgh, from YMCA Pittsburgh to Tampa YMCA to Atlanta YMCA, and then now here with the Veterans Empowerment Organization here in Atlanta.
Okay. What sort of work were you doing with Mannheim?
I was a operations director.
And what sort of responsibilities came along with that role?
Yeah, so at first I went through their management training program. So went through every department within, from HR, legal, sales, marketing, to front end and back end operations. Front end operations being moving cars around a lot. Back end operations meaning reconditioning side of the house. Main jobs were in the reconditioning side of the house, had hundreds of employees on both ends of front end and back end operations, managing client relationships between major banks, major car manufacturers like Ford, Toyota, Lexus. Those were just my responsibilities.
Okay, cool. And so did your role as director of operations have anything to do with commercial motor vehicles?
Commercial motor vehicles, no.
Okay. And what's your role with VEO?
CEO.
And what are your responsibilities as the CEO of VEO?
The entire organization is my responsibility. So financial responsibility, operational responsibility, and making sure that the organization meets all the goals and objectives set by our board of directors.
Are you involved in the creation of any policies or procedures for VEO?
Yes, I would say it's a team effort, but definitely all policies and procedures are run by me.
Okay. Are you involved in fundraising?
Yes.
What sort of role do you play with fundraising for VEO?
We set the strategy. Matter of fact, just right before this call, we were setting our annual strategy and our major gift strategy. And then I tend to talk with a lot of our major donors.
And you are a full-time VEO employee?
Yes.
How long have you been with VEO?
Since February 1st.
Of this year?
Yes, sir.
And have you been in the capacity of CEO since you started with VEO?
Yes.
Have you held any other roles with VEO other than CEO?
No, that's his only role.
Okay. What are the other officer level positions within VEO?
We have a CFO, Chief Financial Officer. That's really the main ones. We have our Vice President of Veteran Services, and then we have a Director of Operations, and then Director of Development and Strategy. Those are the main leadership positions.
Okay, excellent. And so Mr. Pittman, whose deposition we just took, would be the Director of Operations for VEO?
Yes.
What are the various services that VEO performs?
VEO, first and foremost, provides housing for veterans that are experiencing homelessness through our emergency shelter and transitional housing, and also supportive permanent housing. We also provide wraparound services for wellness, so mental health, substance use disorder, those TBI, traumatic brain injury support, traumatic experiences support. We also provide workforce development, and so we help veterans, navigate the job landscape that's out there, whether it's through resume writing, working with SHRM Atlanta, and various partner organizations and companies throughout Atlanta.
And what percentage of VEO's business involves picking up and delivering furniture?
Objective form. You can answer.
I would say less than 1%.
And I guess let me ask you a different way. At the time of as of January 5th, 2021, what percentage of VEO's business would you say involved picking up and delivering furniture?
I was not here.
Objective form. Yes, yeah. Unless I tell you no.
Okay, so January of 20 was before my time, so I couldn't tell you what the percentage of what they did prior to me being here.
Okay. Are you aware of any of the operations of VEO prior to your joining the company?
Very little.
Does VEO use its trucks to pick up or drop off anything other than furniture?
Objective form.
Prior to February 1st, I could not tell you.
What about now?
We do not pick up any furniture any longer.
So does VEO use its trucks to drop off anything other than furniture?
Objective form.
As of now, no.
And how many trucks does VEO have in its fleet?
Objective form.
VEO, I believe it's 3 box trucks. One is unoperable. One was involved in the accident. And the other one, I couldn't tell you. We'd have to talk to the Director of Operations. I don't know if that one is operational or not.
Okay. Is the one that was involved in the accident, was it used at any time after the accident?
No.
Other than the 3 box trucks that you identified, does VEO have any other company vehicles?
We have two passenger vans.
Okay. Does VEO use its box trucks for any purpose other than delivering furniture?
Objective form.
Like I said before, currently we do not use our box trucks in any form, shape, or fashion.
And you have no knowledge of how the box trucks were used before February 2021?
I do not.
Do you know how many pickups and drop-offs VEO was doing on average each month prior to February 2021?
Objective form.
I do not.
Does VEO maintain any written records that would help identify that number?
If so, the director of operations would have knowledge of that information.
Are you as the CEO though, are you aware of any records that VEO keeps that would inform us as to the number of pickups and drop-offs in January 2021?
Prior to February 1st, I apologize. I do not know, what those records that they kept.
When you started as CEO in February 2021, were there any records of anything prior to February?
Like I said, I do not know what those records were. When I started, that's what you do as you come in and look for, things that are out there, but that was not high on the radar on February 1st of one of the things I was looking at.
Okay. So I guess tell me what sort of records VEO kept at the time that you were there, the time you came on board.
So we have client records. That's our major, source of record keeping is our clients, our employee records. Those are, top priority that we, look at as far as for grants and for just Department of Labor. So those were the major records that we would, that were of concern at those times when I first started.
Okay. So if we wanted to ask someone from VEO about records that predated your time with VEO, who would be the best person to speak to?
Objective form.
You'd have to go with, I would say, probably the past operations director, Tyler Bowser.
Is Tyler Bowser currently employed by VEO?
No, he's not.
Have you spoken to Mr. Bowser at any time? At any time?
Have I spoken to him? Yes, I've spoken to him. I've run across him at events and various things that our work cross paths on.
Okay, so is he now with a different organization?
I believe he is working with or doing some help with another veterans organization and some odd and end kind of work that I know right now.
Okay. Do you know, did VEO drive its trucks on the state highway system?
Objective form.
I don't know.
How many employees, VEO employees, were authorized to drive the trucks?
At that time, I don't know.
What about now?
Our director of operations would have that number of what we call, approved drivers.
Does VEO ever use its box trucks to transport elderly or disabled passengers?
As of now, no.
Does VEO ever use its box trucks as part of a sponsored van pool or carpool program?
No, as of my tenure here, no.
Are you aware of VEO using box trucks to transport passengers before you joined the company?
I'm not aware of that.
What's the primary source of VEO's funding?
We get various funding from federal, state, and donations.
What of those three sources that you just identified, what is the largest source of funding for VEO?
They're all pretty fairly equal. From fundraising, it's probably about a third. Government, it's probably another third, and the last third is through our state and grants and things like that. So pretty even.
Okay. And who within VEO is responsible for like the grant writing or seeking funding at the state level?
Our Vice President of Veteran Services, Ann Beard.
And who's responsible for seeking funding at the federal level? Same. Who is principally in charge of the donations?
Who's principally in charge of the donations?
Objective form.
VEO. I mean, all donations come in. Nobody's principally in charge of the donations. It goes into our accounts, and then we distribute those funds based off of how that donor intended that gift to be given to VEO.
Okay, I guess that was a bad question. Who is or I guess what VEO employees are responsible for going out and interacting with donors and trying to fundraise?
So myself, our Director of Development and Strategy would be Alfonso. Our VP of Veteran Services, Ann Beard. We all, as a joint effort, have conversations. We all have our part in fundraising and sharing what we do as an organization to our donors and providing accurate information to them.
Okay. I'm going to share my screen. Can you see Plaintiff's Exhibit 183?
Yes.
And do you recognize Plaintiff's Exhibit 183 as a list of some of VEO's donors?
Yes.
Do you know roughly how much Truist Bank gives annually to VEO?
I do not know offhand.
I'd like to state in kind of a running objection to this line of questioning. Let you ask questions about funding and donors, but I don't know how that relates to anything that is subject to relevance in this case. So if you're going to continue this line of questioning, then I want a running objection just to be on the record.
All right. So does VEO keep records that would show how much Truist Bank gives annually?
Yes.
And who is responsible for maintaining those records?
I mean, any of the three that I mentioned can see those records. So myself, Ann, and Alfonso can see those records.
Okay.
Responsible for donor database would be Alfonso Rogers.
Okay. I guess let me take a step back and ask what is an estimate of the total amount received annually from donors?
I'm going to object. It seeks to invade the privacy of the organization. I don't think there's a punitive damage claim in this action unless I've forgotten that. I'm going to instruct him not to answer on that basis unless you've got an offer of proof.
I mean, this is there are allegations that this is a motor carrier, and both the defendant and its insurance company are denying that it is. We're allowed to get testimony to show how VEO is funded and how it uses its funds.
Well, if
I mean,
that's the base,
I don't know why I'm arguing. It
if
doesn't
that's
matter. Hold on. It doesn't matter what argument I give you. If you can instruct him not to answer, and I can ask him if he's going to take your advice, and we can take it up with the court later. I mean, this is relevant. This is a typical deposition question, discovery deposition. It has nothing to do with collectability of a punitive damages award. It's about how the company is run, which is relevant to the allegations in this case.
Are you finished? I'd like to state for record what my objection is. The funding, the methodology of funding, the banking institutions, the private institutions, the individuals that provide funding for the company have nothing to do with whether some entity operates as a motor carrier for hire, transporting goods or property, and being paid to do so by those that own the goods or property. It's an entirely irrelevant question. I could say that I've never seen a case in American jurisprudence that conflates a motor carrier for hire, someone who advertises and markets to hire out to transport the goods of others for them, or a private motor carrier where they are hired by a particular individual or company to transport that individual or company's property or goods for them, having anything to do with how a nonprofit entity receives funding. So I don't believe there's a correlation between these questions and whether or not a company is acting as a legal matter as a motor carrier for hire or a motor carrier in any sense. So I maintain that objection, you know, obviously this is not my client, so I can't instruct them not to answer and have not, but leave that to defense counsel.
Yeah, I'm going to join in that objection. I don't think it's reasonably calculated to lead to the discovery of admissible evidence, and on that basis, I'm instructing Mr. Kimbrough not to answer.
It is an unethical basis to instruct someone not to answer. I'll put that. That's all I've got to say. Mr. Kimbrough, are you going to take the advice of your lawyer and the advice of Arch Insurance Company's lawyer and refuse to answer the question?
Matt, you've done that twice, and I think I've made it clear in my response. I am not counsel for this company. I'm not counsel for Mr. Kimbrough. I don't have the capacity to instruct him not to answer. So while you want to constantly put that in your statements, just for the benefit of clarity and honesty, don't do that. Just say your counsel has instructed you not to answer, not Arch Insurance Company has instructed you not to answer.
The speaking objections are wholly improper. This is not a
speaking objection. This is asking you to have a correct and correct.
You gotta let me finish. You gotta let me finish talking.
Yeah, well, try and be accurate when you say so.
No. So you were identified as Arch Insurance Company's counsel, which is 100% true, and you just flagrantly put out your opinion that he should not answer the question.
I didn't say that.
And that's exactly what I said in my response. And so the record reflects what happened. Okay.
I objected to your line of questioning. I didn't give him an instruction not to answer because I don't have the capacity to do so.
Okay. All right, sir. Well, Mr. Kimbrough, are you going to take the advice of your counsel and the suggestion of Arch Insurance Company's counsel not to respond to this question?
Objection to your statement, and we'll ask the court for sanctions for your continued misstatement.
Yes, I will take the advice of counsel.
Do you know roughly how much FedEx contributes annually to VEO?
Same objection, same instruction.
And I have the running objection to that line of question.
All right, sir, are you going to take the advice of counsel and refuse to answer that question?
Yes.
Okay. Can you see Plaintiff's Exhibit 184 on your screen?
Yes.
Do you recognize Plaintiff's Exhibit 184 as a list of VEO's title partners?
Yes.
What does title partner mean?
These are partners who have been with VEO, believe in their mission, and had given to VEO at a certain level.
And what level is that?
For title partner.
100,000 or more.
So every entity identified as a title partner gives $100,000 or more annually?
Or at some point in time.
Okay. How much roughly does the Home Depot Foundation give to VEO annually?
Object.
Maintain the same running objection to all of these questions.
Yeah, and instruct them not to answer. And counsel, if you want it on the record, I'll put it on the record. In terms of specific donation binding specific donor, I think it's not reasonably calculated to lead to the discovery of admissible evidence and to invade the privacy of this entity as well as others. And for that reason, I'm going to instruct them not to answer.
Mr. Kimbrough, are you going to take the advice of counsel and refuse to answer the question?
Yes.
Who at VEO is in charge of creating a budget?
I am.
Is there a specific amount budgeted annually to funding VEOs picking up and delivering household goods?
So what I will tell you that picking up and delivering household goods is not a practice of VEO currently. Those are donations that were given to veterans that were in need of goods. So that's our practice.
Okay. And so is there an amount budgeted to delivering those donations to veterans?
Objective form.
We do not deliver donations.
Before you started as VEO CEO, was there any specific amount budgeted to delivering household goods to veterans?
Objective form.
To my knowledge, there was no budget for that. VEO did not, from my understanding, did not deliver household goods either.
What was the box truck that was involved in this accident doing?
To my understanding, it was picking up a donation.
Was there a specific amount budgeted to VEO's picking up of donations?
To my knowledge, VEO in the budget, there is no budget for it.
Who would be the best person to ask budget specific questions as of January 2021?
January 2021, that would be our CFO.
Is that Don Gibson?
Don Gibson.
Are there any donations, like monetary donations, that are specifically earmarked for funding trucks, purchasing of trucks or truck maintenance?
Any donations earmarked to fund transportation of trucks? Is that your question?
Yeah, like maintenance or purchasing, anything to do with the box trucks.
No.
Is there a specific amount budgeted annually to funding the maintenance of VEO's vehicle fleet?
Objective form.
Is there, say again?
Is there a specific amount budgeted annually to funding the maintenance of VEO's vehicle fleet?
Yes.
And how much is budgeted to that purpose?
I don't know offhand. But I mean, you know, standard gas, insurance.
And so are there donations that are specific, like monetary donations that are specifically earmarked for the purpose of funding that budget, and that budget being to maintain VIA's vehicle fleet?
Donate.
Objective form, asked and answered. You can answer.
Like I said before, donations are not earmarked for any of our vehicles.
So when VIA trucks need to be refueled, who pays for that?
That it comes out of operational.
So is there like a corporate credit card that the person refueling the vehicle would use?
Either corporate, yes.
What are the other ways that, I think you're about to go there, what are the other ways that that could happen?
Gas card. Yeah.
Is there ever a reimbursement process where people will use their personal funds to fill up the trucks or maintain the trucks, and then they're reimbursed by VIA?
To my knowledge, I don't know if that happens, but if it were to happen, then yes, there is a reimbursement.
Who pays VIA drivers to drive the box trucks?
VIA doesn't have, I kind of don't understand the question. We have employees that go and pick up donations, and so they are our employees.
Objective form, vague as the time.
Who pays the VIA employees that drive the box trucks?
Objective form.
Who pays VEO's employees?
Mm-hmm.
VEO pays their own employees.
And are those employees paid from donations, monetary donations received?
Those employees are paid out of our operating budget. And
so in the various source of funding that goes into the operating budget would be from donations, and then the federal and state grants and other funding that you described.
And then we have rental and program fees that we collect every year as well.
Can you tell me about those?
We have rental fees and program fees. So every participant pays some sort of program fee if they're eligible to pay.
How is a program fee assessed?
Based on their ability to pay.
Does VEO do like a financial diligence on each participant?
Yes.
What goes into that process?
During intake, we understand whatever their financial background, if they have disability checks or VA or whatever source of income that they have, to understand what we need to help to obtain to get back on their feet.
Would payment of these rental fees by participants enable them to receive furniture or other household goods?
I don't understand the question.
So let's use a hypothetical. So let's say that there is a participant and who pays VEO the fee that we just discussed. Would that enable them to be eligible to receive furniture from VEO?
Objective form.
No. Any veteran that comes in need, regardless if they're a program participant or not, would be eligible to receive any donation that is received from VEO.
Okay. Do VEO drivers or movers ever receive tips from the people that they help?
I keep saying that you keep calling them movers and drivers. That is not their employee title. That is not who they are. And so from my knowledge, from January prior to that, I do not think that they were receiving any tips to my knowledge.
Okay. Have you ever heard of a VEO employee who is driving or helping move furniture receiving a tip or a gratuity?
To my knowledge.
Would there be someone at VEO who would be closer to that sort of part of the company's service that would be a better person to ask that question?
Objection to foundation.
I told you who would probably currently here. Most of the folks that are here today are new, but if you want to talk with Tyler Bowser, he was the previous operational director.
Okay. Does VEO have a rule prohibiting its employees from receiving tips?
That's a good question. That's my VP of HR or CFO, Don Gibson, on that
one. Would you agree that nonprofit corporations can charge for services?
Objective form.
Say again.
Would you agree that nonprofit corporations can charge for services?
Objective form.
I mean, that is happening throughout America. United Way, Goodwill, YMCA, they all charge for goods and services.
Right. And so YMCA, for example, charges people for like gym memberships, among other things, right?
Correct.
And then YMCA uses those proceeds to help others.
Objective form.
Same objection.
Would you agree with that?
YMCA actually uses those to maintain the operation of the business. Their donations actually are what they use to provide help and assistance to others.
Are there any services that VEO charges directly to the people that it helps?
Say again?
Are there any services that VEO provides that it charges directly to the people that it helps?
Objective form.
I don't understand the question. I would say all we charge is a program fee based off of their ability to pay.
Okay. And I guess what do participants receive in exchange for the program fee, assuming that they have the ability to pay?
Objective form.
So we have housing, and so based off of where they're at in their journey back into, moving on from, homelessness or their state of homelessness, that's, basically what they're paying those fees for. So it covers their housing, it covers utilities. Actually, it doesn't cover all of those things, but their food, their case manager, all of those things that are supporting their journey is where that fee goes to support.
If someone were to call VEO and wanting to donate furniture, would VEO charge that person a fee to come pick up the furniture?
Objective form.
No.
Who pays for the transportation of household goods at VEO so the veterans don't have to pay?
Objective form.
We don't pay for household goods for veterans to be I don't understand your line of questioning right now.
Sure. So part of what VEO does is deliver donations such as furniture to veterans, right?
That is incorrect.
At any time, was that part of VEO's business?
Objective form asked and answered.
Our business is helping veterans that are experiencing homelessness. Our business is provide mental health support and subsidies, supplemental support that the VA doesn't provide. And our business is to help with workforce development. That is the business of VEO, helping that veteran get back on their feet. That's the business.
Before you came on board, let me ask it this way. So once you came on board as CEO of VEO, did VEO stop picking up and delivering furniture donations?
Objective form.
So yes.
So the picking up and delivering of furniture donations no longer happens.
We don't.
Objective form. I don't know if you're just being obtuse or intentionally misleading, but he said repeatedly that they've never delivered anything. So I'm gonna object to the form that it mischaracterizes the prior testimony, and it's a compound question.
Yes, we do not deliver furniture or goods. Those were goods that were being donated to VEO. We do not deliver.
So how do the goods get from VEO to the veterans?
Those goods were donated to VEO. So they were going into the apartments or into the housing of VEO.
Okay. So VEO is not distributing furniture to veterans. It is going with the furniture donations are going within the housing.
VEO, correct.
VEO's box trucks are commercial motor vehicles, right?
Objection to form, objection to the definition of whatever the word commercial is you're using.
Is VEO's box vehicles commercial?
Are VEO's box trucks commercial motor vehicles?
Same objection with regard to what the word commercial means in your question. If you want to define it for them, I have no objection to you defining what you mean by commercial.
All right. Well, thank you for giving me permission to define it. Sir, did you can answer the question as you understood it.
We are not using it for commercial purposes. They are being used to, at the time that I'm aware of, they were used to pick up donations.
Oh, isn't it true that if a box truck has a gross vehicle weight rating of 10,001 pounds or more, it is a commercial motor vehicle?
I'm going to object. It lacks foundation, objective form. It seeks a legal conclusion, and on that basis, I'm instructing him not to answer.
Join that objection.
Are you going to take the advice of counsel and refuse to answer that question?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see here. I'm going to share my screen with you if you'll give me just a second. Can you see Plaintiff's Exhibit 180 on your screen?
Yes.
And then I'm going to scroll down. Can you see the highlighted portion that says commercial motor vehicle means any self-propelled or towed motor vehicle used on a highway in interstate commerce to transport passengers or property when the vehicle has a gross vehicle weight rating of 4,536 kilograms, and then in parentheses, 10,001 pounds or more.
Yes.
I'm going to state an objection before you ask another question, because what you read says used on a highway in interstate commerce to transport passengers or property.
Great.
I'm not sure that the witness has been explained what interstate commerce means and what you're citing.
Your testimony is improper, and that's not a proper objection. And I just want to let the record reflect that I've asked you several times to stop with the speaking objections that are coaching the witness.
I think you have to. I'm objecting until you lay a foundation and provide definitions to terms of art you're using in your question.
In the rules of professional conduct and the Civil Practice Act say that you shall succinctly state your objection, which you are not doing. You're explaining the objection and the witness is hearing it and then not answering my question. It's not proper.
Just for the record, I'll join the objection, but I think the question was just, do you see it? So that's why I haven't stated the objection yet.
That was the question. And he said yes. Are you aware, sir, that VEO's box trucks, and specifically the box truck at issue in this case, had a gross vehicle weight rating of over 10,001 pounds?
Objective form lacks foundation, and to the extent it seeks information that you gleaned from conversations with lawyers, attorney-client privilege. If you know from communications other than those you had with lawyers, you're free to answer the question.
So state your question again.
Are you aware that VEO's box trucks, and specifically the box truck at issue in this case, had a gross vehicle weight rating of over 10,001 pounds?
With the same objections?
No, not prior knowledge.
Okay. Can you see plaintiff's exhibit 181 on your screen?
Yes.
And do you see the red highlight from the subject truck that where it says GVWR?
Yes.
And then do you see right next to that it says 14,500 pounds?
Yes.
Let's see. Does VEO expect its drivers like Mr. Davis to drive safely?
Objection.
Same objection as previously in the prior deposition.
I mean, we expect all of our employees to act in a safe manner.
Well, what does VEO do to make sure that its drivers are driving safely?
Like I said before, as of February 1, we do not have any drivers picking up furniture.
Okay. So I'm going to share my screen with you. Do you, well, let me ask you, do you know how requests for admissions work?
Request for admissions?
Yes, sir.
I do not know.
Can you see plaintiff's exhibit 7 on your screen?
Yes.
Okay. So a request for admission is where one party makes a statement and then the other party either admits or denies it. Now I want to look specifically here at the highlighted portion. Do you see that where it says, quote, Edward Davis was at fault for the collision on January 5th, 2021, end quote?
I do see that.
And then do you see where VEO's response says denied?
I see that.
And then we're going to go to the, I guess not quite the last page, but the signature line here on these requests is VEO's lawyer's signature. Do you see that?
Yes.
Well, do you believe that Edward Davis was at fault for causing the collision?
Objective form.
I was not there or a part of that accident, so I cannot answer that question.
How long have you known that you were going to testify today?
It's been maybe a month or two.
Did you do anything during that time to look into VEO's responsibility for this accident?
Did I look into it?
Yes, sir.
Other than speaking with our lawyers, and that's it.
I'm gonna share my screen with you. Oh, sorry, I'm having a little technical difficulty here. Can you see plaintiff's exhibit 1 on your screen?
Yes.
And do you see on plaintiff's exhibit 1 where it says Davis Edward Jerome?
Yes.
And then you see under that where it says offense?
Yes.
And it says 40-6-71 and failure to yield turning left?
Yes.
And it says issued by the Gwinnett County Police Department?
Yes.
And it says the issue date was January 5th, 2021?
Yes.
And do you understand that January 5th, 2021 was the date of the car wreck that brings us here today?
Yes.
And you see under disposition, it says conviction and bond forfeiture.
Yes.
Did you know that Mr. Davis had been convicted for violating the rules of the road in relation to this wreck?
Objective form, attorney-client privilege. You can answer with any information you obtained outside of conversations with your lawyers.
I do not know. I did not know that outside of speaking with my lawyer.
Okay. Well, looking at this conviction for causing the wreck, does it change your response to the question of whether Mr. Davis was at fault?
Objective form.
No, it doesn't.
Did VEO do anything to penalize Mr. Davis for this wreck?
To my knowledge, no.
Does Mr. Davis still work for VEO?
Yes.
Is Mr. Davis allowed to drive vehicles for VEO?
Objective form.
Like I said before, as of February 1st, we are no longer picking up donations.
Okay. Well, I don't think that I have any more questions. Or either of the defense lawyers going to ask any questions.
This is Mike Johnson for Arch. I'll take a few minutes to think about that. We want to take a 5-minute break, use the restroom. We can come back and say 11:45.
Sounds good.
Okay, if we're all here, I'll have very few questions. Since I can't see everybody, well, I guess everybody is. Matt, you're there?
Yeah.
Oh, Alfie? Okay.
I'm here.
All right.
Yeah, we're here.
Mr. Kimbrough, my name is Mike Johnson. I represent Arch Insurance Company. Listening to your resume, it was very impressive, and it sounds like you spent a good amount of time involved in organizations that do charitable work. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
I have really one question. When someone makes a donation to VEO of an article of furniture, a radio, a refrigerator, when that comes into the possession of VEO, does VEO own that and they can do with it as VEO wishes?
Yes.
And is that common in most charitable organizations? If someone donates property, if I give it to the Salvation Army, if I give property to any other charitable organization, does that property become the property of the charity?
Correct.
Since you came to VEO, has there been any time, to your knowledge, that VEO advertised to the public that for a price that would be charged by VEO, it could move or transport for those people that they wish to contract with, either property or persons?
No.
Moving aside from the public, since you've been with VEO, has VEO ever offered to any private business or individual that if you pay VEO a charge for transportation, it will transport for payment any article of property or any person?
No.
Those are the few questions I had. Thank you, sir.
Sure. And I'll just have a couple follow-ups, I think. Mr. Kimbrough, all of the testimony that you just gave in response to Mr. Johnson's questions were, is it fair to say that all of those answers were from February 1st, 2021 forward?
Yes.
So none of the testimony that you just gave would precede February 1st, 2021.
To my knowledge, VAO has always operated in the manner that I answered that question to.
When you came on as the CEO, what did you do to review the state of the company and become familiar with the company's operations?
Review the budget, review who our major donors are, review how we deliver programming, the effectiveness of our programming, the effectiveness of our partnerships, so that so it's to the best benefits of our veterans. So really looking at the effectiveness of our programming and our partnerships.
Okay. At the time that you started with VEO, were you aware that this wreck had happened on January 5th, 2021?
Not at the time I started.
When did you first learn about it? And I'll say, excluding any, communications with lawyers.
I couldn't give you an exact date. Literally when I first started, we were in the midst of our big event, our gala. So I would say it sometime after that, maybe in March, is when it popped up on the radar.
Okay. And how would that have popped up on the radar?
I believe Don Gibson, our CFO, shared that there was an accident that took place, and it's in the hands of our insurance and lawyers right now. Okay.
And so you personally had no involvement in the investigation of the wreck?
No.
Okay. Those are all the questions I have. Thank you for your time.
No problem.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Does the witness want to read and sign?
Yeah, we'll reserve the right to review and sign, and I'll have the same order, please. And counsel, will you all agree that he'll be under oath, so he doesn't have to go to the notary to get it signed?
Yeah, no objection from plaintiff.
No objection.
Thank you all. Have a good day.